Hello there, friends, and welcome back to more Bravely Default. Last time, we took on Yoyana's test and completed it, awarding us with the Conjurer Asterisk, which is a pretty unique job that has some utility, but it's really unique. I guess it's the best way I can put it. Its invocation skills are quite something to behold. And I'm actually wearing it right now on Anyes, and I think the outfit looks pretty cool, but I'll talk more about that in my overview video when that inevitably comes out. But anyway, side tangent aside, today we have some very important stuff to take care of. But first things first, what I want to do is check up on Rende Village, as we obtained the Silver Glaive from the River Parts shop, and some extra bonus items from other shops. I think today we have only a few more weapons to obtain from the shops. I think maybe 2 more? I think so. Yeah, I think 2 more. So let's go ahead and finish out the weapons. Let's start with the Hill Parts shop, which will give us the Labris axe. Alright. I wonder if that axe will automatically give me a Boston accent. Points to people who recognize that reference. Anyway, today on Bravely Default, we're going to be leveling some jobs and our levels themselves. I have done a few level grind sessions already in the playthrough, 2 to be exact, and I suggested to you that those were fairly optional and you didn't really need to do those, and that if you really need to, you can just skip that segment of the video or that part of the playthrough and you could just move on, especially if your composition, if you're playing along, is already doing perfectly fine. However, this is the one time that I would suggest that you actually do level grind. Now, the jobs that you want to level up might be very different from what I'm going to plan on leveling. However, I would suggest you at least level your characters up, being roughly around 75 to the 80 range. I think that'll be perfectly fine. I'm going to hard cap myself at level 80 during this grind session, but level 75 to 80 should be perfectly fine for the future of the game. However, the main attraction here is that I have a list of jobs that I want to level up on each character before we get into the later stages of the game. To give you a brief rundown, on Yes, I plan on leveling Spell Fencer, Arcanist, Conjurer, Swordmaster, and Pirate. 5 jobs. Mostly my idea for these are, I want to make an attack Anya's build. The build that I have currently for her is more of a utility caster, but I also want to have the ability to give Anyes the means of actually attacking. So that's what those 5 jobs are mostly there for. Is going to be leveling a bunch of other physical attack jobs like Thief, Ranger, Monk, Dark Knight, and Spell Fencer. This is mostly just to give him a little bit of extra utility and also other avenues for doing physical attacks. Also, stealing is going to become very valuable in the later stages of the game, so I want to go ahead and have that accessible. Ring a Bell is going to be sort of the antithesis of Anyes, where I'm going to be leveling up a few extra support stuff to make him a bit reliable when it comes to healing and buffing, with a bit extra when it comes to attacking. So I'll be leveling up White Mage, Black Mage, Merchant, Pirate, Black Mage, I already said Black Mage, and Knight, I believe, is also the other one I'm going to level up. Yeah, so White Mage, Merchant, Pirate, Black Mage, and Knight. That sounds about right. And then last but not least, we have Idia, who is going to be leveling up Valkyrie, Spell Fencer, Freelancer, Ranger, and if I have time for it, I might level up Thief on her, just so she can also have the ability to steal. But mostly, I want to level up these jobs on her so she has other means of actually dealing damage, other than my Ninja Spell Fencer segment that I've been doing for most of the playthrough. I want to make sure she has some kind of variety. The jobs that I've decided to start off with today are Conjurer, Thief, Pirate, and Valkyrie. And in terms of what I'm going to be giving each character, it is mostly going to be lores, two-handed bonuses, and physical attack bonuses. I might go ahead and slot Anya's onto Knight, now that I think about it, just for one fight, so she can have access to two-handed. Just for one fight, at least. Because she doesn't have it. And then, obviously, I have equipped very powerful weapons, because for right now, I'll be utilizing the Crescent Moon strategy here in Florum, like I did on my second grind session, to do most of my leveling. Now, I mentioned back then that there was a way better way of level grinding later down the road, and I'll be getting to that later today. However, for right now, we don't have access to that. So for real quick, I'm going to equip the Taunt Bangle, the Alarm Earrings, and the Gale Hairpin. There we go. At like last level grind session. Now, if you have no interest in watching me level grind and showcasing a few extra job abilities, that's perfectly fine. I have a timestamp on the video right now, which you can skip to, which will send you to the point right after we have finished this session. And we'll send you to the point where we awaken the Wind Crystal, because that's the other thing we're going to be doing today. So, if you're still here and you want to watch the grind session, alright, go right ahead. We're going to go ahead and head right out here outside of Florum. And there won't be anything too different from this grind session to the other one. Set your encounter rate to really high. You can also set your difficulty to easy mode if you want to make the enemies a bit easier to kill. I don't think I'll be doing this, but that is something you can do. Again, my hard cap on my level is level 80, and as soon as I hit level 80, I'll be removing EXP acquired from the equation. So, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, with Anya's now have learned two-handed, I'm now going to officially swap her over to Conjure so that she can level that up. Here we go. Alright, back to it. Okay, so I mentioned a better grind strategy, and we have now unlocked it now that we have Conjure at job level 9. And that is Obliterate. Wipe out weak enemies at the start of battle. Which basically means that as long as you aren't ambushed at the beginning of battle, you will immediately kill all regular enemies on the field, as long as they are 20 levels or below you. Now, while I don't think I am exactly 20 levels or higher than the enemies right now, as soon as I am, Anyas will be instant killing them immediately as battle begins, which will save us quite a bit of time. Now, one thing I do want to go ahead and quickly note, if you do have access to Narende Village items, there were a few accessories that we obtained a while back that could help you with your grinding sessions. That would be the Golden Egg and the Growth Egg. The Golden Egg will double Peeg received, but you will not obtain EXP or JP, so if you need Peeg, this is a good way to obtain it. And the Growth Egg will double EXP and JP received, but no Peeg will be received. So, they're kind of opposites of one another. I will say this though, do not try to be clever, the game already knows what you're thinking. You cannot buy both of these and equip them at the same time and get double of everything. No, in fact, you will get 0 of all rewards from the end of combat if you have both of these equipped. So make sure that you aren't doing that. Alrighty, our first job mastery has appeared, and it's Valkyrie. To go over some of the stuff you might not have seen, we got Soulmates, which is a support ability that will raise physical attack and magic attack for 5 turns by 25% each time an ally suffers a KO. This is not ideal because you shouldn't base stat boosts around your teammates dying. At least I don't like abilities like this. But, I mean, if you're having a build, if you have a build that has a Dark Knight that is greedily dying over and over again or something like that, this might be pretty useful. Aerials. The number of turns in the air during jump type abilities increases by 1 turn, and the amount of damage dealt rises by 50%. Note that the BP cost also rises by 1, except for with Sky High. This is also another ability. The damage dealt by jump is going to be doing maximum damage at this point in the game already. You don't really need this. I mean, it keeps the Valkyrie out of harm's way for another turn, which could be useful. But either way, I'm not a big fan of this one. Sky High. Begin the battle in the air and come diving down to attack on the first turn, dealing double the damage of a conventional attack to one enemy. Note that damage is tripled if a spear is equipped. This is actually quite useful, as you can utilize this to end encounters pretty early, and since it works in boss fights, you can get a lot of really good damage out against the opponent from the very beginning of the fight. And then lastly, Super Jump, which requires 3 BP. Jump out of the screen, and then come hurtling down 2 turns later, dealing double the damage of a conventional attack to all enemies. Note that the damage is tripled if a spear is equipped. This is basically your AoE jump, as it will hit every single enemy on the field, but it requires a little bit of extra BP, and is also their capstone ability, which means it's very difficult to get your hands on. Pretty useful though, especially if you are grinding enemies. This can be another way of just taking them down all in one go. But for right now, I have equipped her on Spellfencer to see if we can get her capped on that, hopefully fairly soon. Alright, not too long after Idia finished Valkyrie, 'tis Mastered Thief. It's been a little while since we have seen Thief, so let's go ahead and go over the abilities that I don't think we've looked at. Starting with Master Thief, double the success rate of stealing abilities. Note that this effect does not stack with similar effects from items, mostly the Thieves' Gloves. Rob Blind, nab 2 items instead of 1 when stealing. This is really good, and I'm definitely going to be utilizing this when I start using Thief once more. Shakedown, steal an item from all enemies with a 25% success rates for each. This is also affected by things like Master Thief, their specialty, or Thieves' Gloves, raising the success rate by quite a bit. But this is really good, and compare well with things like Rob Blind, Burgle and Buff, which we'll just get to, but it can ease up the steal BP cost by quite a bit. It requires 1 BP, but utilizing this is probably better than trying to steal from like 4 or 6 enemies at once. Next is Speed 30% up, pretty self-explanatory, and Burgle and Buff. Raise physical attack by 25% when stealing an item from an enemy or recovering HP with Life Thief. This allows the thief to deal quite a bit of extra damage once they've stolen things from an enemy, which is, it synergizes well with all of its other abilities, making the thief quite a bit of a powerhouse if you utilize Burgle and Buff. Even if you don't, Godspeed Strike is still one of the best attack abilities in the game. So, with Thief Cap for Tiz, I think I'm going to move over to Ranger. Finish this out pretty quickly. He also can keep his bow that he has on right now. Alright, Conjure's mastered, so let's go ahead and check that off the list. There we go. And let's go ahead and send Agnes over to Arcanist. I mean, that's nearly done, right? Job level 9, that's not too bad. There we go. And then we also completed Pirate for Ring a Bell, so let's check that off. And let's send him to White Mage, why not? Sounds pretty good. There we go. Okay, so at level 73 is when Obliterate is going to begin working for you. So, fights are just going to immediately end like that, and you get all the bonuses for it as well. Alrighty, Spellfencer's out of the way now, and we've gained access to the most important thing, well, 2 most important things. Sword Magic level 6. Holy Dark and Death Sword Magic is now available, so now we can hit light and dark weaknesses, and we can also potentially instant kill regular enemies, which is pretty good. Magic Defense Specialized, lower physical defense by 25%, and raise magic defense by 50%. This can be really good if you're going up against a magical-focused enemy or boss, like, let's say, Mephilia, for example, and it can completely render her Gear to Blue attacks completely pointless. Then we have Phantom Weapon. The damage from the currently equipped weapon is added to the damage of magic attacks. This is normally considered to be the main way of making magic damage dealers, whether it is a monk doing the magic damage or an arcanist doing the magic damage, the main way of making your damage as powerful as possible. You slap two-handed and an axe or something on your mage or monk, and congratulations, they are now doing maximum magic damage. Really, really powerful. With Spellfencer out of the way, though, let's go ahead and send her over to Ranger. We'll just go ahead and finish it up. It's job level 13. There we go. Okay, that didn't take much time at all. We obtained job level 14 with Ranger and obtained Multi-Burst. Unleash 4 physical attacks that randomly target enemies, dealing 0.6 times the damage of a conventional attack. This is okay. I'm not the biggest fan of this ability. If you pair it with Freelancer's Mimic, you might be able to get some worth out of it, but I'm not gonna worry about that. Though, speaking of Freelancer, that is actually where I'm sending Idia to next, as I actually want her to level up Freelancer so she can have access to Mimic. So, yeah, here we go. Speaking of Ranger, Tiz has mastered Ranger now, which will give him access to the same support abilities and attack abilities that Idia now has. So now I'm actually going to go ahead and move him over to Monk. Monk has some pretty good abilities, and we haven't seen it in a really long time. So I want to give it the spotlight at some point. Alrighty, so Arcanist is now job level 14. We have a lot of abilities to cover, so we'll just go ahead and shotgun them real quick. Convergence. Increase the damage of magic that can only be group cast by 50%. By narrowing its focus to a single target. This basically allows AoE attack spells to be pointed at one target to increase its attack power. Pretty useful for Arcanists since all of their abilities are AoE. Annihilation. Unleash a dark-based magic attack on all enemies and all allies and enemies with -1 BP or less. Note that the lower the target's BP, the more damage will be dealt. This is really only good if you're going up against enemies that are willing to go into the negative. Otherwise, you might just be hurting yourself. Status Ailment Amp. Raises the chances of imparting a status ailment. This would have been really nice against Victor and Victoria when I first tried to show off Arcanist, but if we go up against them again, we'll make sure to use it. Iniquity. Unleash a dark-based magic attack on all enemies and foes, all allies and enemies. Wow, I am struggling with that. All allies and enemies with 1 BP or more. This is basically the opposite of Annihilation, which, once again, really only useful if you're going up against enemies who are willing to default constantly, and if you're using a build that puts you into the negative, because otherwise you might be hurting yourself. Max Black Magic. The MP cost of Black Magic doubles, but it also does 50% times more damage. This can be set at the same time as Black Magic Amp. This basically sets your Black Magic to deal a lot more damage, and if you're using Black Magic as an AoE coverage sub job, then you might be in a really good situation to use this. But also note that it costs 3 support points, so it's really costly. This has got to be something you commit to. And then lastly, and the most important one in my opinion, is Internment. Deal high dark damage to all enemies. Internment hits like a truck, but it also costs an insane amount of MP. Thankfully, if you pair it with something I'm going to give Anya's here in a second, you can mitigate that MP cost. But pairing Arcanist's Internment with pretty much any MP mitigating or magic increasing ability will make it do insane amount of damage. And speaking of that, we're going to be sending Anyas over to Swordmaster so she can obtain free lunch, so if she is on Arcanist, she can just utilize Internment with no cost. Okay, job level 14 on White Mage with Ring a Bell. We have a lot of stuff to go over, but I'm pretty much just going to go over the Cliff's Notes. Magic defense 30% up, you guys know the drill on that. White Magic level 5 will give you access to Asunaga, which is an AoE Asuna, Kurada, which is a stronger Kira, and Aeroga, which is the strongest form of Arrow. Epic Group Cast. The damage dealt and the amount of recovery do not decline when group casting magic. Note that this effect can also be invoked from the menu screen. This basically allows you to AoE heal and AoE damage every single ally or opponent without losing the potency of that spell, which is really, really strong, especially for healing magic. White Magic level 6 will give you access to Kuraga, the strongest cure spell. Arise, which will raise a character with full HP, and Holy, which is a very powerful single target light spell. And at job level 14, you gain access to Conservation of Life, which will bring back all allies from KO and restore all of their HP when you, the user, suffer a KO. Note that if multiple characters have this support ability, the effect occurs once per battle for each of them, and will occur even if everyone suffers a KO at the same time. This is a really good safety net, if anything else. It costs 3 BP, which honestly means that I can really only suggest it to be a learning tool more than anything else. But if you're struggling with a fight, this is a good way to recover it, as your White Mage might be one of the last people on the battlefield still standing. So, now that White Mage is done for Ring a Bell, we're going to check that off. And we're going to head straight to Black Mage. Get him both White Mage and Black Mage leveled up. So, Tiz got job level 14 on Monk. There's a lot of abilities and support abilities we learned here, but honestly, the most important one that I'm going to mention is Pressure Point, which ignores the target's physical defense and deals 2 times the damage of a conventional attack to one target. While it requires 1 BP, if you pair that with Freelancer's Mimic, you have a very powerful physical attack on your hand, as it can go through physical defense. Another really good one here is Natural Talent, which raises physical attack by 100% when nothing is equipped on the right hand, left hand, head, body, or accessory slots. This can allow your monk to basically deal maximum damage no matter what attack they're using, which is pretty good, though they basically become a glass cannon and can be ripped apart really, really easily. With Monk done, though, we're going to move him over to Spellfencer. Tiz is nearly done. We've got 2 more jobs on the list for him. And Idia has capped Freelancer, learning Mimic, which is a very powerful tool, especially for her as a physical attacker. And since we still have a few extra jobs to go for everyone else, I'll go ahead and start her leveling up Thief. So, Agnes is done with Swordmaster, which, honestly, all of these abilities aren't really all that useful except for Free Lunch, which is what I mainly leveled it up for her. So, we're going to cross that off the list, and she has 2 more jobs that she needs to go level up. Let's start with Pirate, as we don't need her to get super far. She doesn't need to cap it. I only want her to get to round level 12 so she can get access to Axe Lore, as Phantom Weapon really likes axes, I'll be real. Alright, Ring a Bell is capped Black Mage. We'll cross that off. So next up, we're going to go ahead and go a little bit over to the Merchantry area and level up Merchant. This one's already nearly close to job level 14, so it won't be that bad. A utility-based job for Ring a Bell seems perfectly fit for him. And after about an hour of grinding, I have officially reached level 80, so I'm going to be turning off my EXP gain as I do not want to go any further than this. So, back to leveling, just no more EXP from now on. Okay, Spellfencer on Tiz is done, so let's go ahead and check that off. Woo! Alright. 1 more job left for Tiz, and that is Dark Knight. Let's go ahead and put that on him. The main thing I'm looking for Dark Knight for Tiz is just an extra avenue of dealing damage, and if need be, he can also apply that funny little Spellfencer drain tactic that I've used for Idia occasionally. I guess because Idia is now capped Thief, which didn't take as long as I thought it would, I'll go ahead and put her on Vampire, just so she can boost it up. It's another physical-based job, and it might be something that she can utilize. Ring a Bell's finished up Merchant, which means now he's on to Knight, which this shouldn't take too long. It's already job level 9. Good old Knight Ring a Bell. It's been a while since we've seen you. And then Agnes also finished Pirate, which means that her next stop is at Spellfencer to obtain Phantom Weapon, which means we gotta go all the way for her. Okay, that's our final few jobs done. Spellfencer on Agnes is done. Let's see here. Tiz is capped on Dark Knight. Ring a Bell finished out Knight. And Idia finished out Vampire. So just looking around, we have what? 8 or 9 jobs capped on Idia? 1, 2, 3, 4... 8 jobs on Idia? Yeah, 8 jobs on everyone. That is way more than enough to finish out the game with. You have a lot of options now. I'm gonna go ahead and set up a few things, and I will see you back whenever we have a better team comp than this jumbled mess right here. I forgot to go over this, so let's go ahead and quickly talk about the Conjurer abilities. So let's just head over to the job menu for Conjurer, and let's discuss this. Invocation level 1 gives you Gear to Blulu. Now, it does not tell you exactly what these do, so I'll be going over them at a later date. So for right now, Steady MP Cover. Recover 30 MP at the end of each turn. This is a really, really good support ability, especially since it only costs 1 BP. Critical MP Cover. Recover 200 MP when your HP falls below 20%. This can allow for a lot of really close call saves if you need the MP. Save Summoning Magic MP. Lower the MP cost of Summon Magic by 25%. This can help since Summoning has very high MP costs. But it costs 2 MP. It's a little rough to use, but hey, if you like summoning, go right ahead, use that. Post-battle MP, this is their specialty. Recover 25% of your maximum MP at the end of a battle. This can allow you to constantly utilize your MP in a dungeon where you're going to be using your MP to sweep out mobs. Obliterate. Cause instant death at the start of battle to targets 20 or more levels lower than you. This is what I utilized to farm EXP, JP, and Peeg quite fast. Max Summoning. The MP cost of summon magic doubles, but it also does 50% more damage. This can also be used at the same time as summoning amp. This is basically the opposite of safe summon magic MP. You increase the amount of MP you use to deal with summon magic, and unfortunately it costs even more. This I'm not a big fan of, as you can make summon magic deal maximum damage with a much easier build than this. So, meh. MP 30% up. If you need a lot of MP, this is the perfect button for you, though it does cost 3 support points. And then finally, their capstone ability is experience up. Earn 50% more experience than normal. It's basically the same as JP up from Freelancer, which means it only works on the user you've equipped this on. But hey, I mean, it's an extra 50% of EXP. I'll take it. Okay, so we're at the end of that grind session, and overall, for right now, I have not changed my build pretty much at all. I've kept it the same. This grind session was mostly to future-proof future things that I want to do, so I just have extra options. But for right now, for this video, we're going to continue with the tried and true setup. That includes gear and whatnot. I did not buy anything from the adventure when it comes to Norande Village items and all that. For this entire session, that was a little under 2 hours of grinding, which is not bad. It's been worse. It's been worse, I can tell you that right now. But for right now, I want to go ahead and awaken the final crystal. So, I'm going to head real quick to Anchime, just to pop in, say a hi, see if there's anything we need to do here. I do not believe there is, but it's nice to see our one of my favorite desert cities in all of gaming one last time. We're going to go ahead and buy a few things. First things first, let's go ahead and just buy a few more teleport stones. We'll get it to 20, why not? And then, is that everything? Let me go look at the adventurer. I don't think I need anything else. Oh, one thing I do want to note is that I got 99 insect antennas from grinding, because insect antennas drop very often in that Florum area, along with fairy wings, so you can get a lot of them really easily there. But I don't think I need anything else. I think I look pretty good. Alright, so then, I bid Anchime adieu, despite our very short visit, and we can head towards the Temple of Wind. Now, we're going up against Orthros, as you could probably tell, and so, of course, prepare for heavy magic attacks, fire, ice, you know, the drill. So, we'll go ahead and heal up. I have my setup already made and ready to go. So, with those preparations made, time to head inside.
Look! This crystal has also reverted.
Wait, something lurks nearby.
Another creature back from destruction!
Here they come!
Hey there, Orthros. Long time no see. Okay, so Orthros is still the same pooch that we know and love, and our strategy will not change very much. So let's go ahead and discuss Orthros' etymology a little bit here. Orthros is a bit complex, as there might be a few different origins from where they got the idea to make this creature. The most obvious being the Greek hound, Orthrus, or Orthus, or Orthros, depending on different stories and variations, his name might differ. But this hound is a two-headed dog that is very similar to Cerberus, which is a three-headed dog. And basically, Orthros appears in multiple different stories, having different roles to play. Though normally being slain quite often, which, I mean, to be fair, we kill him quite often as well. Though there isn't a lot of evidence supporting the idea that Orthros has fire and ice elements tied to him. So that might be a little something that the Bravely Default team decided to add on to his character. One thing to note, though, is that there is another origin piece that they might have taken from a different religion, a different religion that might also pertain to Orthros's origins, which is actually from the Eastern Orthodox Church or Eastern Catholic Church, where Orthros is normally seen as a ritual that is held on Sunday mornings that is usually used to, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, usually used to, as a Byzantine rite to bring in the daybreak of morning on Sundays, with Orthros meaning daybreak literally. I don't see the connection between that and the elements, but it could be a little nod that Orthros is also utilized in an Orthodox church, and since the Crystal Orthodoxy plays such a big role in Bravely Default, they might have had it as a little nod, which I could see. But yeah, there's a few different origins that it could have had, which is pretty cool, I'd say. I kind of overlapped there, didn't I? I was thinking about the church and whatnot. That's okay. We're gonna have Agnes go ahead and Brave here twice, and we're gonna set up quick. And we're going to have Tiz go ahead and take advantage of our Amp Strike to try and finish off the Ice Orthros. We're gonna have Ringabel go ahead and curse the Fire Orthros because Idia is gonna wail on that one. And thankfully, Ringabel's faster, and this should pretty quickly take them all down. Quick. And GG, hopefully. Yeah, look at that damage. Just crazy. Speed things up. That Orthros down. Yep. Amp Strike. Finish him off, Tiz. Almost. Okay. That's okay. Ring a bell, buddy, oh pal. Bone Crush doesn't work. So I say, let's give you the victory here. Let's find our Phlogistons and start just chucking Phlogistons at him. This will give us bomb arms that we can use to just chuck at him. There we go. Finish him off, Ring a Bell. Come on, buddy. Yeah, good job, buddy. And that's Orthros. Nothing new. We know how this buddy old pal works. And we can go and awaken the Wind Crystal safely.
Hurry up and awaken the crystal before we are beset by more beasts! Of course. I'm ready, Eri. I'm sure you have the hang of it, but if there's anything you'd like to go over again, just ask.
Hello there, friends. In our time together, we have journeyed across the world of Luxendark many times over, faced countless trials, and have made difficult choices. History has been made before our eyes, and we have uncovered the unsettling truths surrounding our quest. All of this has led us to this moment, where we now find ourselves with two options. Like how Sage gave our heroes a choice to end their journey here and now, I will pose the same question to you. If you desire to see this journey come to an end here and now, I give you the ability to shatter the crystal. You can press this button at any point from this moment onward to be sent to a timeline where our heroes defy Ares' pleas to awaken the Holy Pillar and stand up for what they believe in. However, if you desire to see this journey to its true conclusion, then I implore you stay with me as we continue our journey across the various Luxendark worlds. We will see many familiar faces once again, endure countless more battles, and awaken many, many more crystals. This road will indeed be long and arduous, but if at any point you wish to end it, you can always push the button to shatter the crystal. Both choices you have are valid, and there is a story to be told with each. I want you to decide how this journey ends.